What if the ancient Greek temples you've seen in history books were more than just stunning architectural feats? What if every column, every angle, and every stone placement held a deeper meaning waiting to be uncovered? For centuries, these majestic structures have stood as symbols of human ingenuity and divine connection, but beneath their grandeur lies a web of secrets, codes, and hidden messages. Today, we're peeling back the layers of time to reveal 25 hidden meanings woven into the very fabric of these ancient temples. From celestial alignments to sacred geometry, these temples are not just monuments of stone but profound expressions of spirituality, culture, and cosmic understanding. Stay with us because by the end of this video, you'll see these ancient wonders in a completely new light, discovering the genius of a civilization that left behind clues for us to decode thousands of years later. Let's begin this journey into the mysteries of ancient Greek temples where every detail tells a story. Now, let's turn our gaze upward toward the stars. The ancient Greeks didn't just see temples as earthly structures. They believed these sacred spaces were deeply connected to the cosmos. Hidden in the very foundations of these temples is evidence of their fascination with the heavens. Many Greek temples were meticulously aligned with celestial bodies, particularly the sun, moon, and certain stars. This wasn't a random choice but a deliberate act of reverence. The Greeks saw the cosmos as a reflection of divine order, and by aligning their temples with these celestial markers, they aimed to bring that harmony down to earth. Take the Temple of Apollo at Delphi, for example. Its orientation was carefully planned to align with the rising sun during the winter solstice, a moment that symbolized rebirth and the return of light. This wasn't just about architecture, it was a spiritual statement. The Greeks believed that such alignments allowed them to communicate with the gods, channeling celestial energy into their rituals and daily lives. This cosmic connection was a way to bridge the gap between the human and the divine, creating a sacred space where the two could meet. But how did they achieve such precision without modern tools? The Greeks relied on a combination of astronomical knowledge, mathematics, and skilled craftsmanship. They observed the movements of celestial bodies over time, using markers like shadows and the horizon to determine exact alignments. This level of attention to detail shows just how much they valued the relationship between the heavens and their earthly homes. Their temples weren't just places of worship, they were cosmic calendars, spiritual compasses, and reminders of humanity's place in the universe. As we move forward, we'll uncover even more ways these ancient architects wove celestial wisdom into their designs. Now, let's take a closer look at the remarkable precision behind these celestial alignments. The ancient Greeks weren't just inspired by the stars, they were masterful in their ability to translate that inspiration into exact measurements and designs. Without the advanced technology we have today, they relied on an intricate blend of observation, mathematics, and ingenuity. One of their most essential tools was the gnomon, a simple yet effective device used to track the movement of the sun. By measuring the length and direction of shadows cast by the gnomon, they could pinpoint the positions of celestial bodies with astonishing accuracy. This precision wasn't just for show, it had a profound impact on temple rituals. For instance, during key festivals or solstices, the alignment of a temple would ensure that sunlight would flood the inner sanctum at a specific moment, illuminating sacred statues or altars. This dramatic interplay of light and architecture wasn't just visually stunning, it was symbolic. The Greeks believed that such moments marked the presence of the gods, reinforcing their connection to the divine. But the Greeks didn't stop there. They also used geometric principles such as the Pythagorean theorem to ensure that every element of the temple was proportionally perfect. This meticulous attention to detail created a sense of harmony and balance, mirroring the order they saw in the cosmos. The result was a structure that wasn't just functional but deeply spiritual, a place where the rhythms of the heavens were echoed in stone. As we explore further, we'll see how this blend of astronomy and architecture shaped not just temples but the very worldview of the ancient Greeks. Their ability to intertwine the celestial and the earthly continues to inspire awe, reminding us of the timeless quest to understand our place in the universe. Moving from the celestial to the mathematical, the ancient Greeks also harnessed the power of the golden ratio in their temple designs. This proportion, often represented by the Greek letter phi, is roughly equivalent to 1.618 and is found throughout nature in the spirals of seashells, the arrangement of flower petals, and even the proportions of the human body. The Greeks believed this ratio was a manifestation of divine harmony, a perfect balance that reflected the order of the cosmos. In architecture, the golden ratio was used to determine the proportions of temple elements, from the height of columns to the spacing of decorative features. Take the Parthenon, for instance. Its facade is a masterclass in golden ratio design. The width of the structure to its height, the distance between columns, and even the dimensions of the inner sanctum all adhere to this sacred proportion. This wasn't just about aesthetics, it was about creating a space that felt inherently balanced and harmonious, evoking a sense of awe in those who entered. What's fascinating is how the golden ratio went beyond mere measurement. It symbolized the connection between the human and the divine, a bridge between the earthly and the eternal. The Greeks saw this proportion as a way to align their temples with the natural world, reflecting the belief that beauty and order were divine gifts. By incorporating the golden ratio, they weren't just building structures, they were crafting experiences that resonated with the soul. This pursuit of perfection wasn't just limited to temples. It influenced Greek art, philosophy, and even their understanding of the human form. The golden ratio became a universal language of beauty, a reminder that the divine could be found in the smallest details of creation. As we continue, we'll see how this principle shaped not just architecture but the very essence of Greek thought and culture. Now let's turn our attention to the columns themselves, where the Greeks elevated architecture into a profound expression of both human ideals and cosmic order. The Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian styles aren't just different forms of decoration, they're symbolic narratives carved in stone. Each style embodies distinct virtues and reflects the Greeks' belief in the harmony between humanity and the divine. The Doric column, the oldest and most robust of the three, exudes strength and simplicity. Its fluted shaft rises without a base, directly grounded in the earth, symbolizing stability and resilience. The plain, circular capital at the top mirrors the unadorned yet powerful character of the Doric order. This style was often chosen for temples dedicated to male deities, emphasizing notions of discipline and fortitude. In contrast, the Ionic column introduces elegance and refinement. Its slender shaft, resting on a decorative base, conveys grace and sophistication. The capital, adorned with scroll-like volutes, adds a sense of movement and fluidity. This style was frequently used in temples honoring goddesses, embodying qualities of wisdom and balance. The Ionic order represents the marriage of beauty and intellect, a testament to the Greeks' reverence for both art and reason. Finally, the Corinthian column takes intricacy to another level. Its capital, decorated with acanthus leaves, symbolizes growth, vitality, and the flourishing of culture. This style, though less commonly used in Greek temples, became a hallmark of Roman architecture. The Corinthian order reflects the pinnacle of artistic achievement, celebrating creativity and the abundant gifts of nature. Together, these three styles form a triad of human virtues, strength, wisdom, and grace, interwoven with the divine principles of order and harmony. The Greeks didn't just build columns, they crafted a visual language that spoke to the soul, reminding worshippers of their place within the grand design of the cosmos. As we delve deeper, we'll uncover how these architectural choices were more than aesthetic, they were a mirror of the Greek worldview. Now, let's take a closer look at the deeper symbolism behind these iconic column styles. The Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian orders weren't just architectural choices, they were a reflection of the values and aspirations of ancient Greek society. Each style carried a message, a lesson, and a connection to the divine, shaping the way people understood their world and their place within it. The Doric column, with its sturdy and unadorned design, was more than a symbol of strength. It was a celebration of discipline and order. Its simplicity spoke to the virtues of restraint and perseverance, qualities highly prized in a society that valued both physical and moral fortitude. Temples featuring Doric columns often honored gods associated with power and authority, reinforcing the idea that strength was not just physical but also spiritual and ethical. This style reminded the Greeks of the importance of grounding themselves in principles that endure. The Ionic column, with its graceful curves and intricate details, represented a different kind of strength, the power of intellect and creativity. The scroll-like volutes on its capital were not just decorative, they symbolized the endless pursuit of knowledge and the fluidity of thought. Temples adorned with Ionic columns often paid homage to goddesses of wisdom and the arts, highlighting the Greeks' belief that true beauty lies in the balance of mind and spirit. This style encouraged worshippers to embrace both logic and imagination, seeing them as complementary forces rather than opposites. Finally, the Corinthian column, with its lush acanthus leaves, embodied the concept of growth and abundance. It was a celebration of life's vitality and the richness of culture. Though less common in Greek temples, this style became a symbol of refinement and artistic achievement, influencing later architectural traditions. The Corinthian order reminded the Greeks of the interconnectedness of nature, art, and spirituality, urging them to nurture not just their bodies and minds but also their creative souls. Together, these three styles formed a visual language that communicated the ideals of ancient Greek society: strength, wisdom, and grace. They were not just pillars of stone but pillars of meaning, guiding individuals toward a deeper understanding of themselves and their relationship to the divine. As we continue our exploration, we'll see how these architectural choices were not just about beauty, but about building a legacy that would endure for centuries. Moving forward, let's uncover how ancient Greek temples did more than house deities. They also served as sophisticated timekeepers. These structures were meticulously designed to mark key celestial events like solstices and equinoxes, playing a crucial role in both agricultural and religious cycles. In a society deeply connected to the rhythms of nature, temples were built to align with the sun's movements. During the summer solstice, for example, sunlight would often stream through specific openings or align perfectly with certain architectural features, signaling the longest day of the year. Similarly, the winter solstice was marked by the sun's lowest point in the sky, often highlighted by the temple's design to signify the return of longer days. These precise alignments allowed the Greeks to track the changing seasons with remarkable accuracy. The equinoxes, when day and night are of equal length, were also carefully observed. Temples were often positioned so that sunlight would illuminate sacred spaces in unique ways during these moments, creating a sense of balance and harmony. This wasn't just about practicality, it was a spiritual act reminding worshippers of the natural order and their place within it. Beyond celestial events, temples also helped regulate agricultural practices. Knowing the exact timing of solstices and equinoxes allowed farmers to plan planting and harvesting with precision, ensuring bountiful crops. This connection between architecture, astronomy, and agriculture reinforced the idea that the divine was deeply intertwined with everyday life. Temples weren't just places of worship, they were essential tools for survival and prosperity. By marking these natural cycles, Greek temples became living calendars, bridging the gap between the heavens and the earth. Their role as timekeepers highlights the ingenuity of ancient Greek architects and their profound understanding of the cosmos. As we move to the next hidden meaning, we'll see how this connection between temples and nature extended even further. Now, let's turn our attention to another fascinating aspect of ancient Greek temples, their orientation. The way these temples were positioned wasn't random. It was a deliberate choice reflecting the spiritual and cultural values of the society. Temples were often aligned toward significant geographical features or celestial events, serving as powerful symbols of religious devotion and cultural identity. For instance, many temples faced east toward the rising sun, which the Greeks associated with renewal and divine power. This orientation wasn't just practical, it was deeply symbolic, emphasizing the connection between the gods and the natural world. By aligning temples with the sunrise, the Greeks reinforced the idea that the divine was ever present, guiding their daily lives and offering blessings at the start of each day. Other temples were oriented toward sacred mountains, rivers, or even specific stars, depending on the deity worshipped there. For example, a temple dedicated to Poseidon, the god of the sea, might face the coastline, while a temple honoring Athena, the goddess of wisdom, could be oriented toward the city's acropolis. These alignments weren't just about location, they were statements of faith and cultural priorities, tying the temple's purpose to the natural or celestial elements it honored. This intentional orientation also played a role in rituals and ceremonies. During religious festivals, the alignment of a temple could create dramatic effects, such as sunlight streaming through its entrance at a specific time of day or year. These moments were seen as signs of divine favor, deepening the worshippers' connection to their gods. By carefully considering the orientation of their temples, the ancient Greeks demonstrated their belief in a harmonious relationship between the physical and spiritual worlds. This practice not only honored the gods but also reinforced the cultural values that shaped their society. As we continue, we'll explore how another element of temple design, light, was used to enhance these spiritual experiences. Now, let's step into the world of light and shadow, where ancient Greek architects wielded sunlight as a tool of divine artistry. The use of natural light in temple design wasn't just about illumination. It was a carefully calculated element aimed at heightening spiritual experiences. Temples were designed to harness sunlight in ways that transformed rituals into unforgettable moments of awe and connection. Imagine standing inside a temple at dawn, watching as the first rays of sunlight pierce through the entrance, illuminating the statue of the god or goddess. This wasn't an accident. Architects positioned doors, windows, and openings to align with the sun's path, creating breathtaking effects during specific times of the day or year. For instance, during solstices or equinoxes, sunlight might flood the inner sanctum in a way that felt miraculous, as if the gods themselves were blessing the space. But it wasn't just about grand displays. Subtle manipulations of light also played a role. The arrangement of columns and walls could create patterns of light and shadow that danced across the temple floor, adding a dynamic, almost living quality to the sacred space. These effects weren't just visual, they were deeply symbolic. Light represented divine presence and enlightenment, while shadows hinted at the mysteries of the spiritual realm. These light-based designs were particularly impactful during key rituals. Priests and worshippers often timed ceremonies to coincide with these moments of heightened illumination. For example, a prayer or offering made as sunlight bathed the altar would feel more potent, as if the gods were visibly acknowledging the act. This interplay of light and ritual deepened the emotional and spiritual connection of the worshippers, making the temple not just a building but a living conduit to the divine. By mastering the use of natural light, ancient Greek architects turned temples into stages for divine drama, where the sun itself became a participant in worship. This thoughtful integration of light and design underscores the Greeks' profound understanding of the spiritual power of their environment. As we move forward, we'll delve into the symbolic meanings behind these light-filled moments and their role in ancient rituals. Now, let's uncover the deeper symbolism behind these light-filled moments in ancient Greek temples. Light wasn't just a practical element, it was a powerful symbol of divine revelation and connection. In rituals, the interplay of light and shadow was thought to mirror the relationship between the mortal and the divine. Sunlight, in particular, was seen as a direct manifestation of the god's presence, a visible sign of their favor and power. When worshippers gathered in temples, they weren't just observing these effects, they were participating in a sacred dialogue. The way sunlight illuminated certain areas or objects, like the altar or a statue, was interpreted as a form of divine communication. For example, a beam of light falling on a sacrificial offering might be seen as the gods accepting the gift, while shadows in other parts of the temple could symbolize the unknown or the mysteries that lay beyond human understanding. These light-filled rituals were deeply emotional experiences designed to evoke awe and reverence. The timing of ceremonies to coincide with specific light effects, like the sun's rays hitting the inner sanctum at dawn, was deliberate, meant to heighten the sense of divine intervention. Worshippers would feel as though they were witnessing something extraordinary, a moment where the boundary between the human and the divine blurred. Moreover, the contrast between light and shadow served as a metaphor for the dual nature of existence, order and chaos, knowledge and mystery, life and death. Temples, with their carefully designed light effects, became spaces where these dualities were explored and reconciled. By experiencing these contrasts, worshippers were reminded of the complexities of the spiritual journey and the constant presence of the divine in their lives. This profound symbolism of light in rituals highlights how ancient Greek architects and priests used their environment to create not just physical spaces, but spiritual experiences. Next, we'll explore another layer of meaning as we examine the sacred proportions of the cellas, the inner sanctums where these divine connections were most intensely felt. Moving beyond the interplay of light and shadow, we now step into the sacred space of the cella, the inner sanctum that formed the heart of every ancient Greek temple. The cella wasn't just a room, it was a meticulously designed space meant to embody the connection between the human and divine realms. Its dimensions and proportions were calculated with astonishing precision, reflecting the ancient Greeks' belief in harmony and balance as divine principles. The size and layout of the cella were not arbitrary. Instead, they followed strict mathematical ratios, often tied to the golden ratio, which symbolized perfection and divine order. These proportions weren't just about aesthetics, they were meant to create a sense of awe and reverence in anyone who entered. The height, width, and depth of the cella were carefully chosen to evoke a feeling of spiritual elevation, as if stepping into a space that transcended the everyday world. At the center of the cella stood the cult statue of the deity to whom the temple was dedicated. This statue wasn't just a representation of the god or goddess, it was considered a divine presence itself. The dimensions of the cella were often designed to frame this statue in a way that emphasized its sacredness. For example, the height of the cella might align with the statue's crown or outstretched arm, creating a visual connection between the divine figure and the space around it. The cella's proportions also had a symbolic purpose. Its elongated shape, often rectangular or square, was thought to represent the journey from the earthly realm to the divine. As worshippers moved deeper into the cella, they were metaphorically ascending toward the gods, leaving behind the mundane and entering a space of spiritual transformation. This architectural design reinforced the idea that the temple was not just a place of worship, but a bridge between the human and the divine. Even the materials used in the cella's construction carried symbolic weight. Polished marbles and stones reflected light in ways that enhanced the sacred atmosphere, while intricate carvings and decorations served as reminders of divine power and presence. Every detail, from the floor to the ceiling, was designed to elevate the worshipper's experience, making the cella a space where the divine felt tangibly close. Next, we'll explore how the ancient Greeks incorporated water into temple design, using fountains, pools, and drainage systems to symbolize purification and the life-giving properties of water. Shifting our focus now, the ancient Greeks ingeniously incorporated water into their temple designs, seeing it as far more than a practical element. Fountains, pools, and intricate drainage systems were not just functional. They were deeply symbolic, embodying the concepts of purification and the life-giving essence of water. Water in Greek mythology was often associated with gods like Poseidon and nymphs, who were believed to control its flow and power. Temples, therefore, used water to create a sacred atmosphere, blending the natural with the divine. Fountains within temple precincts served both practical and spiritual purposes. They provided water for ritual cleansing, a key part of many ceremonies, but they also symbolized renewal and rebirth. The sound of flowing water was thought to purify the air and the soul, creating a serene environment conducive to worship. These fountains were often adorned with carvings of gods, nymphs, or other mythological figures, reinforcing the connection between the divine and the natural world. Pools, too, played a significant role in temple design. They were often placed in courtyards or near altars, serving as visual and spiritual focal points. In some temples, pools were used for ceremonial baths, where worshippers would cleanse themselves before approaching the gods. This act of washing was deeply symbolic, representing the removal of impurities and the preparation for a sacred encounter. The reflective surface of the water also added a layer of symbolism, mirroring the heavens and suggesting a connection between the earthly and the divine. Even the drainage systems in temples carried symbolic weight. Far from being merely functional, these systems were designed with care, often incorporating decorative elements that highlighted their significance. Water flowing through these channels was seen as a metaphor for the continuous cycle of life and death, purification and renewal. The efficient removal of water also symbolized the temple's ability to maintain order and harmony, reflecting the broader Greek belief in the balance of nature and the cosmos. Through these carefully designed features, water became an integral part of the temple experience, enhancing its sacred atmosphere and deepening its spiritual meaning. As we'll see next, the ancient Greeks also used intricate sculptures on temple pediments to convey moral lessons and divine truths, further enriching the layers of meaning in their sacred architecture. Moving deeper into the layers of meaning in ancient Greek temples, we now turn our attention to the pediments, the triangular upper parts of the temple facades. These architectural features were far more than decorative elements. They were canvases for storytelling, showcasing intricate sculptures that brought myths and legends to life. Through these carvings, the Greeks communicated profound moral lessons and divine truths, embedding their spiritual and philosophical beliefs into the very structure of their sacred spaces. The pediments often depicted scenes from Greek mythology, carefully chosen to align with the temple's dedication to a specific deity. For example, the pediment of the Temple of Zeus at Olympia featured the epic battle between the Lapiths and the Centaurs, symbolizing the triumph of civilization over chaos. This theme resonated deeply with worshippers, reminding them of the values of order, restraint, and moral clarity. Similarly, the pediments of the Parthenon in Athens displayed the birth of Athena and the contest between Athena and Poseidon for the city's patronage. These scenes not only celebrated the city's divine protector, but also reinforced the idea of wisdom as a guiding force in civic life. The sculptures were meticulously crafted with figures that appeared almost lifelike, drawing viewers into the narrative and encouraging them to reflect on its deeper meanings. Beyond their mythological content, the pediments also served an educational purpose. In a time when many people could not read, these visual stories were a powerful way to communicate cultural and religious values. They acted as a bridge between the human and the divine, offering worshippers a glimpse into the world of the gods and the lessons they held for humanity. The placement of these sculptures was also significant. Located high above the temple's entrance, they framed the sacred space and guided worshippers' gaze upward toward the heavens. This positioning emphasized the connection between the earthly and the divine, reminding visitors of the temple's role as a meeting point between the two realms. As we'll explore next, the ancient Greeks also harnessed the power of sound in their temples, designing spaces with hidden acoustic properties that amplified voices and music during rituals, further enhancing the spiritual experience. Turning our attention to another fascinating aspect of ancient Greek temples, we uncover the hidden acoustic properties that were meticulously incorporated into their design. These temples were not just visual marvels, they were also masterpieces of sound engineering. The ancient architects understood that sound played a crucial role in enhancing the spiritual experience, and they designed these sacred spaces to amplify voices and music during rituals, creating an atmosphere of awe and unity among worshippers. One of the most striking examples of this acoustic ingenuity can be found in the sanctuary of Asclepius at Epidaurus. The theater there is renowned for its exceptional acoustics, where even a whisper from the stage can be heard clearly in the farthest seats. While not a temple, it reflects the same principles applied in temple design. The careful arrangement of stone surfaces, column placements, and the overall geometry of the space ensured that sound traveled efficiently, enveloping worshippers in a sacred auditory experience. In temples, the acoustic design served a dual purpose. First, it allowed priests and orators to be heard clearly, ensuring that their messages and invocations reached every corner of the sacred space. This clarity was essential during rituals where precise words and chants were believed to have divine power. Second, the amplification of music and song heightened the emotional impact of ceremonies, fostering a sense of connection and collective spirituality among participants. The use of specific materials also played a role in achieving these acoustic effects. Limestone and marble, commonly used in temple construction, not only provided durability but also enhanced sound reflection and clarity. The geometric precision of the floor plans and the height of the ceilings further contributed to the acoustic optimization, creating spaces where sound could resonate powerfully. This attention to acoustics reveals the ancient Greeks' deep understanding of the interplay between architecture and human experience. By designing temples that engaged both the eyes and the ears, they created immersive environments that strengthened the bond between worshippers and the divine. As we move forward, we'll explore how the use of colors in temple decoration added yet another layer of meaning to these sacred spaces. Stepping into the world of ancient Greek temples, we now uncover the vivid use of colors that brought these sacred spaces to life. Far from the stark white marble we often associate with ancient ruins, these temples were originally adorned with a kaleidoscope of hues, each carrying deep symbolic meanings tied to gods, emotions, and the natural world. The colors used in temple decoration were far from random. They were carefully chosen to reflect the divine attributes of the deities worshipped within. For example, blue and gold were frequently used in temples dedicated to Zeus, symbolizing his dominion over the sky and his supreme authority. Similarly, red and white often appeared in temples honoring Athena, representing wisdom, courage, and purity. These colors not only decorated the walls and columns but also adorned the statues, friezes, and pediments, creating a visual language that spoke to worshippers about the gods' powers and virtues. Colors also played a role in evoking emotions and enhancing the spiritual atmosphere of the temples. Bright, bold hues like red and orange were used to inspire energy and passion, often featured in areas dedicated to rituals and celebrations. Softer tones like green and blue created a sense of calm and serenity, ideal for spaces meant for meditation and reflection. The interplay of light and color further heightened these effects, with sunlight filtering through painted windows or reflecting off polished surfaces to create dynamic, ever-changing visuals. Beyond their symbolic and emotional significance, the colors of Greek temples were deeply connected to the natural world. Green represented fertility and growth, often linked to Demeter, the goddess of agriculture. Earthy tones like brown and ochre echoed the landscape surrounding the temples, grounding them in their physical environment. Even the use of black and white held meaning, symbolizing the duality of life and death, night and day, and the balance between opposing forces. The use of colors in temple decoration reveals the ancient Greeks' profound appreciation for the interplay between art, spirituality, and nature. By infusing their sacred spaces with vibrant hues, they created environments that not only honored the gods but also engaged the senses and emotions of worshippers. As we continue, we'll explore how modern technology has unveiled the true extent of this colorful legacy, challenging long-held misconceptions about ancient Greek art. Now, turning our attention to the present, we uncover how modern technology has breathed new life into our understanding of ancient Greek temple colors. For centuries, the vibrant hues that once adorned these sacred spaces seemed lost to time, leaving us with the misconception that Greek temples were always stark white. However, advancements in imaging and analysis have revealed traces of pigments that tell a different story. These discoveries show that the temples were originally a riot of color, with intricate designs and patterns that transformed them into vivid masterpieces. Sadly, exposure to the elements and the passage of time have caused much of this colorful legacy to fade, leaving only faint hints of their former glory. Even so, these remnants have allowed researchers to reconstruct the original palettes, challenging the long-held belief that ancient Greek art was monochromatic. The fading of these colors serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of history and the importance of preserving what remains. As we uncover more about the hues that once defined these temples, we gain a deeper appreciation for the artistry and symbolism that shaped ancient Greek culture. Shifting our focus now, let's explore the fascinating role animals played in the symbolism of ancient Greek temples. Animals were deeply woven into the fabric of temple art and architecture, serving as powerful symbols of divine attributes and mythical narratives. From the majestic lions guarding entrances to the intricate carvings of eagles soaring across pediments, each creature carried profound meaning. The lion, for instance, symbolized strength and protection, often placed at temple thresholds as a spiritual sentinel. Meanwhile, the eagle, associated with Zeus, represented divine authority and the connection between earth and sky. Even mythical creatures like the griffin, with its lion's body and eagle's head, embodied a blend of terrestrial and celestial power, reflecting the Greeks' belief in the harmony of opposites. These animal motifs weren't merely decorative, they were deliberate expressions of the gods' characteristics and the values held sacred by ancient Greek society. By incorporating these symbols into temple design, the Greeks created spaces that weren't just places of worship but also visual narratives of their cosmology. As we continue our journey, we'll delve into the hidden chambers and passageways of these temples, revealing even more secrets of their spiritual significance. Moving beyond the symbolic imagery of animals, let's uncover the mysteries of the hidden chambers and passageways within ancient Greek temples. These secret spaces, often concealed from public view, served as sanctuaries for sacred objects and private rituals. Many temples featured underground tunnels or secluded rooms accessible only to priests and initiates, creating an air of exclusivity and reverence. These hidden areas were designed to protect precious artifacts, such as offerings to the gods or ceremonial tools, ensuring they remained untouched by the uninitiated. Some passageways even connected to natural caves or springs, blending the man-made structure with the sacred landscape. These secret spaces weren't just practical, they held deep spiritual significance. Conducting rituals in these secluded environments heightened the sense of connection to the divine, as participants stepped away from the public eye into a realm of mystery and intimacy. The careful planning of these chambers reflects the Greeks' understanding of the power of secrecy and the sacred, emphasizing the importance of hidden knowledge in their spiritual practices. As we continue, we'll explore the symbolism of temple foundations, delving into how their construction techniques conveyed stability and divine support. Now, let's take a closer look at what lies beneath the surface, the symbolism of temple foundations. The ancient Greeks didn't just build temples to stand tall, they ensured their foundations were as meaningful as the structures above. These foundations were more than just practical, they were symbolic, representing stability, endurance, and the unwavering support of the gods. The materials chosen for these foundations, such as limestone or marble, were not only durable but also carried sacred connotations. Limestone, for instance, was believed to be a gift from the earth, symbolizing its grounding power, while marble, often associated with purity, connected the temples to the divine realm. The construction techniques further emphasized this symbolism. Layers of carefully cut stones were meticulously fitted together, often without mortar, showcasing the precision and skill of the builders. This interlocking design was more than just an engineering marvel, it mirrored the Greeks' belief in the interconnectedness of the physical and spiritual worlds. The depth and breadth of these foundations also communicated a sense of permanence, as if the temples were rooted not just in the earth but in the very fabric of the cosmos. By investing such care into the unseen parts of their temples, the ancient Greeks conveyed a profound message. Just as the gods supported the world, these sacred structures stood as a testament to divine strength and stability. This thoughtful approach to foundations reminds us that even what lies hidden can hold immense meaning, shaping the legacy of these awe-inspiring temples. Next, we'll explore how temples played a role in healing, integrating natural elements into their design to connect worshippers with the gods of health and wellness. Turning our attention to the intersection of spirituality and well-being, we uncover the remarkable role temples played in ancient Greek healing practices. Certain temples dedicated to gods like Asclepius, the deity of medicine, were designed as sanctuaries for both physical and spiritual restoration. These healing temples, known as Asclepians, were often built near natural springs, believed to possess curative properties. The soothing sound of flowing water and the purity of these springs created an atmosphere of tranquility, essential for the healing process. Inside the temples, gardens filled with medicinal herbs were cultivated, providing natural remedies for those seeking relief. Patients would sleep within the temple grounds, a practice called incubation, where they hoped to receive divine guidance or healing through dreams. The architecture itself was thoughtfully planned to enhance this experience, with open courtyards allowing fresh air and sunlight to rejuvenate the body and mind. These temples were not just places of worship but holistic centers of healing, blending the divine with the natural to restore balance and health. This ancient approach to wellness reminds us of the enduring connection between nature, spirituality, and healing, a legacy that continues to inspire modern practices. Next, we'll delve deeper into the rituals performed in these temples and their lasting influence on medicine today. Now, let's take a closer look at the rituals that took place within these ancient healing temples and how their legacy continues to shape medicine today. One of the most fascinating practices was incubation, where patients would spend the night in the temple, often within sacred spaces called abatons. Here, they would sleep on special couches, hoping to receive divine messages or healing through dreams. These dreams were interpreted by priests, who would then prescribe treatments ranging from herbal remedies to specific rituals or lifestyle changes. This blend of spiritual guidance and practical care highlights the holistic approach of ancient Greek healing practices. Another key element was the use of water, not just for its physical properties but for its symbolic role in purification. Patients would bathe in sacred springs or pools, believing the water carried the blessings of the gods. This ritual cleansing was thought to wash away both physical ailments and spiritual impurities, preparing the individual for healing. The legacy of these practices is still evident in modern medicine. The concept of holistic healing, which considers the mind, body, and spirit, has roots in these ancient traditions. The use of natural elements like water and herbs, as well as the emphasis on mental and emotional well-being, can be traced back to the Asclepians. Even the idea of a healing environment designed to promote tranquility and recovery remains a cornerstone of modern healthcare facilities. As we reflect on these ancient rituals, it's clear that the Greeks understood something profound about the interconnectedness of health and spirituality. Their approach reminds us that true healing often requires more than just physical treatment. It demands a deeper connection to the world around us and within us. This ancient wisdom continues to inspire, offering timeless insights into the art of healing. Next, we'll explore how staircases in temples symbolize the journey from the earthly to the divine. Moving forward, let's step into another profound aspect of ancient Greek temples, the symbolism of their staircases. These architectural features were far more than just functional elements. They carried deep spiritual significance. Staircases in temples were designed to represent the journey from the earthly realm to the divine, embodying the idea of spiritual ascent. Every step a worshipper took upward was seen as a metaphor for moving closer to the gods, leaving behind the mundane concerns of the physical world. The number of steps often held symbolic meaning as well. For example, some temples featured 7 steps, representing the 7 classical planets known to the Greeks, while others might have 12 steps, symbolizing the 12 Olympian gods. This careful attention to numerology further reinforced the connection between the physical structure and its spiritual purpose. The act of ascending these staircases was also a ritual in itself. As worshippers climbed, they were encouraged to focus their minds on prayer or meditation, preparing themselves to enter the sacred space above. This process was not just about physical movement, but about inner transformation. It was a reminder that the path to the divine required effort, intention, and a willingness to rise above earthly limitations. This concept of ascent was also reflected in the design of the temple as a whole. The higher one climbed, the closer they came to the inner sanctum, the most sacred part of the temple where the deity was believed to reside. This architectural hierarchy mirrored the spiritual hierarchy, with the divine at the pinnacle and the earthly world below. Even today, the symbolism of temple staircases continues to resonate. They remind us that spiritual growth is a journey, one that requires patience, dedication, and a conscious effort to elevate ourselves. Next, we'll explore how temples served as centers for civic life, extending their significance far beyond their religious functions. Shifting our focus, let's uncover another fascinating dimension of ancient Greek temples: their role in civic life. Far from being just places of worship, temples were the beating heart of Greek society, serving as hubs for political, social, and economic activities. These sacred spaces were where communities gathered, decisions were made, and cultural traditions were upheld, making them indispensable to daily life. Politically, temples often doubled as meeting places for governing bodies. City leaders would convene within or near temple grounds to discuss laws, treaties, and other civic matters. The presence of the divine was believed to lend legitimacy and wisdom to their decisions. In some cases, temples even housed important state documents or served as treasuries, safeguarding the wealth of the city. Socially, temples were venues for festivals, celebrations, and communal events. Major religious festivals like the Panathenaea in Athens brought people together from across the region, fostering a sense of unity and shared identity. These events were not just religious observances, but also opportunities for music, theater, athletic competitions, and feasting, enriching the cultural fabric of Greek life. Economically, temples played a significant role as well. They were often centers of commerce, with markets springing up around their precincts. Pilgrims and visitors would bring offerings and trade goods, stimulating local economies. Additionally, temples employed a wide range of workers, from priests and artisans to laborers and merchants, creating a network of economic activity that supported the community. The integration of temples into civic life highlights their multifaceted importance in ancient Greece. They were not just spiritual sanctuaries, but also pillars of society, shaping political, social, and economic dynamics in profound ways. Next, we'll delve into the cryptic inscriptions found in temples, uncovering the messages they held for ancient Greeks and what they reveal to us today. Now, let's turn our attention to the fascinating world of temple inscriptions. These cryptic carvings, etched into stone or marble, served as a permanent record of ancient Greek life, offering us a glimpse into their thoughts, beliefs, and daily practices. From prayers to laws, these inscriptions were more than just words. They were a bridge between the human and the divine, as well as a way to communicate important messages across generations. One of the most common types of inscriptions found in temples were prayers and dedications. Worshippers would carve messages to the gods, often expressing gratitude, asking for blessings, or seeking protection. These inscriptions reveal the deeply personal relationship ancient Greeks had with their deities, showing how they turned to the divine in times of joy, struggle, or uncertainty. In addition to prayers, temples often housed inscriptions of laws and decrees. These texts were placed in sacred spaces to underscore their importance and to ensure they were upheld under the watchful eyes of the gods. By engraving laws in temples, ancient Greeks reinforced their commitment to justice and order, blending the sacred with the civic. Some inscriptions also served as historical records, documenting significant events, victories in battle, or the construction of the temple itself. These texts provide valuable insights into the lives of the people who built and used these spaces, helping us piece together the stories of ancient communities. Interestingly, many inscriptions were written in a way that was accessible to all, using language that was clear and straightforward. This suggests that temples were not just for the elite but for everyone, reinforcing their role as centers of shared knowledge and culture. The inscriptions found in ancient Greek temples are like time capsules, preserving the voices of those who lived thousands of years ago. Next, we'll explore how temples reflected and reinforced societal gender roles, shedding light on the lives of men and women in ancient Greece. Moving forward, let's uncover how ancient Greek temples played a significant role in shaping and reflecting societal gender roles. Temples dedicated to specific deities often mirrored the gender norms of the time, offering a unique lens into the lives of men and women in ancient Greece. For instance, temples dedicated to goddesses like Athena or Artemis were spaces where women could gather, worship, and participate in rituals. These temples celebrated qualities associated with femininity, such as wisdom, fertility, and protection. In these sacred spaces, women found a sense of community and empowerment, even within a society that often limited their public roles. On the other hand, temples dedicated to male gods like Zeus or Apollo emphasized traits like strength, leadership, and heroism. These spaces often became centers for civic and military activities, reinforcing the idea that men were the primary actors in public and political life. The rituals performed in these temples highlighted the expectations placed on men to uphold order and defend their communities. Interestingly, some temples blurred these gendered lines. For example, the Temple of Hera, while dedicated to a goddess, was also a site where both men and women participated in rituals that celebrated marriage and family unity. This suggests that while gender roles were clearly defined, there were also spaces where the boundaries could overlap, reflecting the complexity of ancient Greek society. Through their dedication to specific deities, temples not only honored the gods but also reinforced the values and roles assigned to men and women. This interplay between sacred spaces and societal norms offers us a deeper understanding of how ancient Greeks viewed gender and their place in the world. Next, we'll explore the symbolism of temple roofs and how their design connected heaven and earth. Now, let's turn our attention upward to the temple roofs, where ancient architects infused profound symbolism into their design. The roofs of Greek temples were far more than functional covers. They were carefully crafted to embody themes of protection, unity, and the sacred bond between heaven and earth. The materials used in temple roofs were often chosen for their durability and symbolic significance. Terracotta tiles, for instance, were not only practical but also represented the Earth's stability. These tiles, combined with wooden beams, created a structure that mirrored the balance between the natural and the divine. The roof's role as a protector was deeply symbolic, shielding the sacred space below while also serving as a physical reminder of the gods' watchful presence over their worshippers. The design of temple roofs also reflected the idea of unity. The triangular pediments at the front and back of the roofs often featured intricate sculptures depicting mythological scenes or divine figures. These artistic elements conveyed moral lessons and divine truths, connecting the human world with the realm of the gods. The roof, in this sense, acted as a bridge, uniting the earthly and the celestial in a single architectural feature. Moreover, the slope of the roofs was not merely practical for shedding rain. It also symbolized the journey from the earthly realm to the heavens above. The upward angle of the roof represented spiritual ascent, encouraging worshippers to look beyond their immediate surroundings and contemplate the divine. This design choice reinforced the temple's purpose as a place of connection between mortals and the gods. As we've seen, every aspect of the temple roof, from its materials to its design, was imbued with layers of meaning. These roofs were not just structural elements but powerful symbols that enriched the spiritual experience of ancient Greeks. Up next, we'll delve into the rituals and ceremonies involved in constructing these sacred roofs and the deeper symbolism they held. Now, let's explore the fascinating rituals that accompanied the construction of temple roofs, revealing even deeper layers of symbolism. The process of building a sacred roof was not just a technical endeavor but a spiritual act steeped in ceremony and meaning. Ancient Greeks believed that every step of the construction had to honor the gods and ensure the temple's divine favor. The construction began with a sacred ceremony to bless the site and the materials. Priests would offer prayers and sacrifices, often involving animals or fruits, to invoke the gods' blessings. These rituals were meant to purify the materials and the workers, ensuring that the roof would be a worthy guardian of the sacred space below. The act of laying the first tile was particularly significant, often accompanied by chants or hymns that celebrated the union of earth and sky. The workers themselves were seen as participants in a divine act. Skilled craftsmen, often regarded as chosen by the gods, approached their work with reverence. Each tile and beam was placed with precision, not just for structural integrity but to reflect the order and harmony of the cosmos. The rhythmic sounds of hammers and chisels were thought to echo the music of the spheres, connecting the physical labor to the celestial realm. Once the roof was complete, another ceremony marked its dedication. This event often involved the entire community, with processions, music, and offerings to the gods. The roof was anointed with sacred oils or water, symbolizing its role as a protector and mediator between the human and divine worlds. The culmination of these rituals signified the temple's readiness to serve as a house of the gods, a place where mortals could seek divine guidance and blessings. Through these rituals, the construction of temple roofs became a profound act of devotion, weaving together craftsmanship, spirituality, and community. Each roof stood not just as a shelter but as a testament to the ancient Greeks' deep reverence for the sacred and their desire to connect with the divine. Next, we'll uncover how temples played a surprising role in warfare, blending the spiritual with the strategic. Moving from the spiritual symbolism of temple roofs, we now step into the realm of warfare, where temples played a surprisingly strategic role. Far from being solely places of peace and worship, ancient Greek temples often served as vital centers for military preparations and ceremonies. These sacred spaces were not only sanctuaries for the gods, but also hubs for rallying soldiers and invoking divine favor in times of conflict. One of the lesser-known functions of temples was their use as storage facilities for weapons and armor. In times of war, temples became secure repositories where communities could safeguard their most valuable military equipment. This practice underscored the belief that the gods would protect these tools of war, ensuring their effectiveness in battle. Temples dedicated to deities like Athena, the goddess of wisdom and warfare, were particularly significant in this regard, often housing shields, swords, and other armaments. Temples also served as places to honor war gods and seek their blessings. Before heading into battle, soldiers and commanders would gather in temples to offer sacrifices and prayers, asking for divine intervention and victory. Rituals often included the burning of incense, the pouring of libations, and the presentation of offerings such as weapons or trophies from previous campaigns. These ceremonies were meant to strengthen the soldiers' resolve and ensure the gods' favor on the battlefield. Additionally, temples were spaces where military strategies were discussed and alliances forged. Commanders would consult priests and oracles, seeking guidance through omens or prophetic messages. The temple's role extended beyond the spiritual, becoming a meeting point for leaders to plan and coordinate their efforts. This blending of the sacred and the strategic highlights the deep interconnection between religion and warfare in ancient Greek society. Finally, temples played a crucial role in commemorating military victories. After a successful campaign, soldiers would return to the temple to dedicate trophies and spoils of war to the gods, expressing gratitude for their divine support. These offerings served as tangible reminders of the gods' power and the community's triumphs, reinforcing the belief that victory was granted through divine favor. Temples, therefore, were not just houses of worship but dynamic centers that shaped the military and spiritual lives of ancient Greeks. As we delve further into the mysteries of these sacred structures, we'll next explore the profound symbolism embedded in temple altars, where sacrifice and devotion converge. Shifting our focus to the heart of ancient Greek temples, we now turn to the profound symbolism of temple altars. These sacred structures were far more than mere platforms for offerings. They were powerful symbols of sacrifice, devotion, and the bridge between the mortal and the divine. The design and placement of altars within temples were carefully considered, reflecting their central role in religious practices and spiritual connection. Altars were typically positioned in prominent locations within the temple, often directly in front of the cult statue of the deity. This placement emphasized the altar's role as the focal point of worship, where offerings were made to honor the gods. The materials used to construct altars also carried deep meaning. Many were crafted from stone, symbolizing permanence and the enduring nature of the divine, while others incorporated precious metals like gold or bronze, signifying the gods' exalted status. The act of sacrifice performed at these altars was laden with symbolism. Offerings of animals, fruits, grains, and wine were not merely gestures of devotion, but also acts of communion with the divine. The ritual of sacrifice was believed to maintain the balance between humans and gods, ensuring favor, protection, and prosperity. The smoke rising from burning offerings was thought to carry prayers and petitions to the heavens, creating a tangible link between the earthly and the divine realms. Moreover, the shape and size of altars were often symbolic. Larger altars found in major temples represented the grandeur and majesty of the gods, while smaller, more intimate altars reflected personal devotion and individual connection to the divine. Some altars were designed with intricate carvings or inscriptions, depicting scenes from mythology or sacred symbols, further enhancing their spiritual significance. The placement of altars also extended beyond the temple interior. Outdoor altars were common in sacred precincts, allowing for larger public ceremonies and festivals. These outdoor spaces brought communities together in shared acts of worship, reinforcing social bonds and collective identity. The open-air setting allowed for grand rituals, often accompanied by music, dance, and processions, creating a vibrant atmosphere of celebration and reverence. In essence, temple altars were not just physical structures but profound expressions of ancient Greek spirituality. They embodied the ideals of sacrifice, devotion, and the eternal presence of the divine, serving as powerful reminders of humanity's relationship with the gods. As we continue to unravel the mysteries of ancient Greek temples, we'll next explore how these sacred spaces also functioned as centers of learning and intellectual pursuit. Moving beyond their spiritual significance, ancient Greek temples also served as vibrant centers of education, fostering the growth of philosophy, science, and the arts. These sacred spaces were not just places of worship but hubs of intellectual pursuit, where knowledge was both taught and preserved for future generations. Temples often housed libraries and archives, storing scrolls and texts that covered a wide range of subjects. Scholars and philosophers gathered within their walls to discuss ideas, debate theories, and advance human understanding. The serene and inspiring environment of the temple provided an ideal setting for contemplation and learning, encouraging individuals to explore the mysteries of the universe and the nature of existence. Many temples were dedicated to gods associated with wisdom and the arts, such as Apollo and Athena. These deities were seen as patrons of knowledge, and their temples became natural centers for education. For example, the Temple of Apollo at Delphi was not only a place of prophecy, but also a site where philosophers and thinkers sought wisdom and guidance. The famous Delphic maxim, "Know thyself," inscribed at the temple, reflects its role as a place of intellectual and spiritual growth. Science and mathematics were also integral to temple education. Ancient Greek architects and engineers used advanced mathematical principles to design temples, and these practices were studied and perfected within their precincts. The precise proportions and harmonious designs of temples served as practical lessons in geometry and physics, inspiring students to explore the natural laws governing the world. The arts flourished in temples as well. Poets, musicians, and artists found inspiration in the sacred surroundings, creating works that celebrated the gods and explored human experiences. Festivals held at temples often included performances of music, drama, and dance, providing both entertainment and education for the community. In essence, temples were more than religious landmarks. They were institutions of learning that shaped the intellectual and cultural landscape of ancient Greece. By preserving knowledge and fostering creativity, they ensured that the wisdom of the past continued to illuminate the present. As we delve further into the mysteries of these ancient structures, we'll next uncover the hidden meanings in the intricate patterns found on temple floors. Now, let's step into another fascinating layer of ancient Greek temples, the hidden meanings behind their intricate floor patterns. As you walk into these sacred spaces, your eyes are often drawn upward to the towering columns or the majestic sculptures, but the floors beneath your feet hold secrets of their own. The mosaics and patterns adorning temple floors were far more than decorative elements. They were carefully designed symbols of cosmic order and spiritual journeys. These patterns often mirrored the Greeks' understanding of the universe. Geometric designs, such as interlocking circles or repeating squares, represented the harmony and balance believed to govern the cosmos. Every line and curve was a reflection of the divine order that connected the earthly realm to the heavens. Walking across these patterns wasn't just a physical act, it was a symbolic journey, guiding worshippers toward a deeper awareness of their place in the universe. Some temple floors featured labyrinthine designs, symbolizing the twists and turns of a spiritual path. These labyrinths weren't meant to confuse but to encourage introspection and reflection. As worshippers moved through them, they were invited to contemplate their lives, their choices, and their relationship with the divine. It was a meditative experience, blending art, architecture, and spirituality into a single profound act. Animal and floral motifs were also common, each carrying its own meaning. For instance, waves or spirals might symbolize the eternal flow of life, while images of vines or flowers could represent growth, renewal, and the interconnectedness of all living things. These patterns weren't just beautiful, they were visual teachings, conveying ideas about the natural world and the divine forces that shaped it. even the materials used in these floor designs held significance. Colored stones and tiles were carefully selected to create specific effects, whether it was the calming hues of blue and green or the vibrant energy of red and gold. The interplay of light and shadow on these surfaces added another layer of meaning, transforming the floor into a dynamic canvas that changed with the time of day and the season. In essence, the floors of ancient Greek temples were maps of the cosmos and the soul. They invited worshippers to step into a world of symbols where every pattern told a story and every step brought them closer to understanding the mysteries of existence. As we continue our exploration, we'll uncover how these architectural marvels also played a central role in the myths and legends that defined ancient Greek culture. Now, let's turn our attention to the final hidden meaning in our exploration of ancient Greek temples: their central role in mythology. These sacred spaces were not just architectural wonders, they were the stages upon which the grand tales of gods, heroes, and mortals unfolded. Every temple was a living testament to the myths that shaped Greek culture, connecting the divine to the human experience. Temples often served as the physical embodiments of mythological narratives. For instance, the Parthenon in Athens was dedicated to Athena, the goddess of wisdom and warfare, and its sculptures depicted scenes from her legendary exploits. These carvings and reliefs weren't mere decorations, they were visual stories, reminding worshippers of Athena's wisdom, her victories, and her protection over the city. Similarly, the Temple of Zeus at Olympia celebrated the king of the gods, with its colossal statue and intricate artwork narrating his dominion over heaven and earth. These temples also played a key role in the rituals and festivals that brought myths to life. During ceremonies, priests and worshippers reenacted stories of the gods, from the triumph of Apollo over the serpent Python to the trials of Hercules. These performances were more than entertainment, they were sacred acts that reinforced the values and lessons embedded in the myths. The temples themselves became part of the story, their walls echoing with the voices of those who honored the divine. Moreover, temples were often built on sites believed to be touched by the gods or heroes. The Oracle of Delphi, for example, was said to be the center of the world, marked by a stone called the Omphalos. Pilgrims traveled from far and wide to seek guidance from Apollo's oracle, believing the temple to be a direct link to the divine. Similarly, the Temple of Poseidon at Saunion stood on a cliff overlooking the sea, a fitting tribute to the god of the oceans and a reminder of his power over sailors and storms. In essence, ancient Greek temples were more than places of worship, they were the physical and spiritual anchors of mythology. They preserved the stories of gods and heroes, offered a space for connection with the divine, and inspired generations to live by the values these myths upheld. As we conclude this journey, we're reminded that these temples were not just monuments of stone, but enduring symbols of a culture that wove the sacred into every aspect of life. As we bring our exploration to a close, let's take a moment to reflect on the incredible depth and richness of ancient Greek temples. Across this journey, we've uncovered 25 hidden meanings, each revealing a new layer of their genius, from their precise alignment with the stars to their role in preserving mythology. These temples were far more than just places of worship. They were masterpieces of architecture, centers of learning, and living symbols of a culture that sought harmony between the human and the divine. Consider how their use of the golden ratio and sacred geometry reflected an understanding of beauty and balance that still inspires us today. The way they functioned as calendars, timekeepers, and even acoustic marvels shows just how advanced ancient Greek thinking was. And let's not forget their symbolic use of water, light, and even color to convey spiritual truths and connect worshippers to the gods. These temples were also deeply embedded in the fabric of daily life, serving as spaces for healing, politics, and education. They reminded the ancient Greeks of their myths, their values, and their place in the cosmos. And even today, their ruins continue to captivate us, offering glimpses into a world where art, science, and spirituality were seamlessly intertwined. So, what do these hidden meanings mean for us? They invite us to look beyond the surface and appreciate the ingenuity and vision of the ancient world. Whether you're a history enthusiast or simply curious about these architectural wonders, there's always more to discover. If you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to like this video and share it with fellow history lovers. And hit that subscribe button to join us as we dive into more fascinating mysteries from the past. Let us know in the comments which of these hidden meanings surprised you the most, or what other ancient mysteries you'd like us to explore next. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep exploring the wonders of our world.